How do Arab countries have the largest oil reserves? Ever heard the saying that when God takes something, he gives back something great? Well, the Middle East, particularly the Arab countries, seem to be a testament to this. Despite facing challenges like barren land and scarcity of drinking water, these nations are blessed with abundant oil reserves, making them significant players on the global stage. But here's the real question. How did the Middle East become the powerhouse it is today, and what happens when the oil runs out? Join me in today's video as we explore the fascinating journey of the Arab countries and their reliance on oil for dominance. So let's dive in. So the answer to how there is so much oil in Arab countries is hidden in two things. First, in the formation process of petroleum, and secondly, in history. Let's start with the first question. How is crude oil and other energy resources formed inside of the earth? The crude oil you use today takes millions of years to become, which begins with the ocean. Actually, when marine organisms such as fish, plants, algae, and plankton, i.e. microscopic marine organisms, die in the sea, then at the last moment of their life, their dead bodies go to the seabed, or the land at the bottom of the water, where they keep decomposing. Now, we all know that on an active planet like Earth, there is movement happening in every corner. Due to this, over time, sedimentation keeps on taking place over the dead bodies of the organisms that die inside the water, and after a few million years, so many layers weighing millions of tons accumulate on top of them that the pressure and heat at the depth where those remnants are present reach an extraordinary level. Now here comes the second stage. Eventually, all the seas that existed in ancient times have also dried up over time due to different conditions. Some become victims of excessive heat and evaporation, then some to normal tectonic movements. But what was left behind were the buried lands under the sea, which are known as sedimentary basins. Now, after the transformation in sedimentary basins, the contact of these portions with the mantle and the exposure to the heat of the mantle increased significantly. Due to the considerable depth of the Earth, there was almost no oxygen separate from it. As a result, after the pressure and heat exponentially increased, the organic matter converted into a substance similar to wax due to the lack of oxygen, which is called kerogen. Now, in simple terms, you can consider it as a pre-product of crude oil. Now, this kerogen present in the Earth's crust has to face more pressure and heat for the next hundreds of thousands of years as the layers keep forming on top of it. It goes through a long process called catagenesis while passing through heat and pressure. And finally, after completing catagenesis, the organic matter breaks down and becomes hydrocarbon. A hydrocarbon is a compound formed by the combination of simple hydrogen and carbon. It develops under very high pressure and heat, and after the formation of this compound, the hydrocarbon can turn into coal or crude oil or other gas or energy resources. It decides the surrounding of that hydrocarbon, its pressure, its temperature, and sometimes its environment. Even many times it is seen that the organic matter of plants and other living organisms sedimentary basins are deposited on, their variety and their structure also play a big role in altering the outcome of the final product. So it has become a matter of how crude oil is made, whose strings are basically connected to the sea, that too a sea under which that organic matter has to face a lot of pressure for thousands of millions of years. Then the question arises that how did so much oil come here without any sea? And that's where history along with geography enters the chat. Scientists always keep estimating the conditions of the Earth with the help of different data and try to know what changes happened into it year after year. Due to such research, we came to know the fact that today, where you see the countries of the Middle East, in reality, this same area used to be part of a massive ocean about 100 million years ago, which is the geography of today in the name of Tethys Ocean, which is referred to. Now, about 150 million years ago, how was its position on the Earth's globe? You can understand by looking at this image. Now after this, what everyone knows happened. An asteroid fell on the Earth, many volcanoes erupted, and many tectonic movements happened together, due to which the face of our Earth changed completely and the entire land area was divided into 7 continents. Now, due to normal tectonic movements, eventually the land of the Middle East rose above the sea level and the Tethys Ocean went down. But within this ocean, the organic matter, which had been buried for millions of years, continued to compress inside and continued its process. As humans arrived on Earth many years later, we uncovered the presence of oil, primarily relying on the abundant supply from the Middle East. This region, once submerged under the sea, now holds vast reserves of crude oil. However, a compelling question arises. Despite the wealth generated, crude oil is a non-renewable resource. Once depleted, it cannot be regenerated for the next several years. Now, understanding the seriousness of this matter, humanity is slowly moving towards electric vehicles and renewable resources like solar, wind, and hydro energy. The countries of the Middle East also know this bitter truth very well, due to which they are slowly trying to diversify their economy so that a large part of them comes from different sectors, instead of coming from oil. And to achieve this project, the biggest target of the Arab countries is the tourism sector. Every year, some or other structure is created in the United Arab Emirates, due to which that country continuously attracts outsiders to visit their country. Under the project named Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia wants to increase the contribution of the tourism sector in its economy from 3% to 10%. Apart from this, Saudi is also investing a lot of money on the futuristic city called Neom, so that they can invite tourists as well as rich people to live in their country, because the more rich people stay in the country, somewhere their money will roam round and come back to that country only. Now, with this mindset, Qatar also hosted the Football World Cup last year so that it could attract the attention of outsiders and also make its country a focal point in front of the world. Due to hosting the World Cup, a lot of infrastructure was built in Qatar, and a significant amount of foreign money also came. The value of Qatar increased in tourism, and it became distinct, due to which many big and trusted publications and news agencies even say that Qatar had even bribed FIFA to host the World Cup. The world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, is also in the Middle East, and the space sector too. A lot of potential is being seen from the Middle East, and looking at the speed with which the Arab countries are working towards each and every sector and looking at that vision, it seems that in the coming times, Arabs will not need fuel. Rather, the Arab nations will have become a fuel for the whole world, in front of which other countries will be forced to salute. If infrastructure is developed, it will create jobs, and only when jobs are created, people will get a chance to develop. Understanding this, other countries are progressing at full speed while we are stuck in criticizing, which is not a good mindset for long-term growth. By the way, as we finish up this video, here's a question for you. What do you think about the Arabs and what we talked about today? Please comment your answer below. And if you loved today's video, then please do like it. And I'll see you in the next one.